Hello. Hello, sir. How
So
are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Iran. I live
I
in
know
Tehran.
that. In
Oh,
Tehran. See, of
yeah,
course,
I'm
I
okay.
witnessed some of your lives actually with some other teachers. Of
Yeah,
course, I followed your page. You have really nice content.
thank
Keep
you
it
so
up.
much. I just got to know you very, very recently. I think it was one of your followers. He or she just came to me and said, "How do you save live Instagrams?" I really love to save one of the teacher's live Instagrams. I said, "Who's that?" I said, "Teacher Maysam." That's how I got to know you.
I see. Thank you very much, man. My pleasure.
So, how are you? Where do you live?
I live in Istanbul. Thanks for asking. I'm pretty good. Trying to be good, actually. Yeah. So
Nice.
apparently you teach, right?
Yeah, I teach here in Tehran.
In Kanun Zaban, ILI.
Yes,
I
ILI.
see.
I
I
also
see.
studied there.
Of course. Great. Great job. Great job. How long have you been teaching?
Well, not long. I like 2 years, 2 years and a half.
Nice.
What about you?
Great.
How long have you?
Yeah, I can say around 12 years, but of course, every single day is a new journey, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. And I'm still learning. I mean, in terms of English, as well as, in terms of being a good teacher. I'm just
Yeah,
trying of, yeah,
like every day there's a lot to learn.
exactly. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I get that. Lots of my teachers also told me, they said just because I'm a teacher, that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna learn.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
There's a lot.
everybody should be open to learning.
Yes. So,
Exactly.
so you do lives on a regular basis or
No,
like what?
no, no, no. Actually, my lives actually are fully related or depend on, let's say, depending on my mood and my time, to be honest. If I have time and if I am in a good mood, in that case, I would go live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And
you
when,
have a chat with the learners and the people who
yeah,
follow.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I love having chat with people, exchanging ideas, especially adults. They are so useful. I mean, we can learn a lot of skill sets. We can learn a lot of things from life. That is why for today, for tonight, actually, I wanted to, how can I say, hear some good stuff, some good imaginations, some nice deep
Hmm.
uh, topics that because I am fed up with cliche stuff.
Uh-huh.
Everybody actually is talking about the same stuff. I want to go deeper. Yeah, some challenging, something that I mean both of the sides can take or get advantage of. To be honest, do you have any specific question topic to talk about
Um, I
in
don't know,
terms
like,
of I mean, how can I say social etiquettes or let's say philosophy, this and that, this kind
oh,
of stuff.
so you want some kind of very, very deep stuff.
Exactly.
So that there
Challenging.
would,
But it doesn't mean that I know the answer. No, please don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that I
yeah,
know the answer.
I get what you,
Yeah, understand?
yeah, well, I don't study much, I don't study a lot of philosophy, but
I
one of
see.
the main questions that is basically on my mind is
Okay.
like the meaning of life.
Oh
Why
my
is it
God.
that we
That is
live?
too much. That is too much. The definition of life. So, what have you found so far?
Well, for me, like we're living, I think it's most about being able to have a good relation with the people around us. So like there is less conflict, there is less, there is more of helping other people to improve.
Mm-hmm.
So you help somebody, and then you get help from somebody else, or maybe from the same person. So
Mm-hmm.
for
Great
me,
word.
at least, like as far as I have been concerned, it's mostly like the real meaning is about helping each other grow.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
That
that's
is quite
basically the
correct.
most.
Yes, that is
So what do
quite
you
correct.
think?
We are totally on the same, side. I mean, on the same boat, let's say. But speaking of life or the definition of life, this is too much. Of course,
Yeah.
I mean, we have to just, break it into pieces, then talk about it. For example, life um, consists of different factors that, or elements, let's say. Say success is one of them that everybody is seeking for. Everybody is looking for
Mhm.
success or achievement, as well as joy, happiness, right? People
So
want to be
success and
happy.
happiness. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. These are really cool stuff to think about. And people are, killing themselves, devoting themselves to achieve these stuff. Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let me ask you a question about this. How do
Yeah.
you define success? What is success?
Well, success. I think that success is what actually comes after a lot of failures. And that does not necessarily have to be something good. It could be something that is hard to achieve. I call it success because,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there is just success and then there is no failure because they always come together. Like there's little of success and then there's little of failure and then it keeps getting repeated. So for me, success is what comes after hard work and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of failures. Being willing to fail is
Mm-hmm.
what creates success. Now people think
Brilliant.
that success is a maybe I don't know, but if there are people who assume that success is a lot of money, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe learning another language does not bring you a lot of money, but that does not mean that you're not being successful because it
Mm-hmm.
happens once you keep trying and you fail a lot of time, make a lot of mistakes, and you keep working at it until you bring it to the point where you call it success at learning a language.
Very good. Brilliant. Brilliant idea. I
That's
appreciate
my
it.
perspective.
Perfect. Yeah, totally correct. Totally correct. Yeah. But of course, let me add something else. I think um, in order to define this word, or let's say this concept, we have to say that every single person has a sort of distinctive way of defining this word or any kind of
Mm.
word. Am I
Yeah.
correct? I mean, success maybe varies. The definition of success can vary from person to person. I mean, I think humanity goes for his or her goal in their life or goals in their life. And yeah, if I think if the person reaches uh, his or her goal, in that case, we can I think we can call it as success.
Hmm.
My
So
voice?
depending on what the goal is,
Yeah, yeah.
success can get
Exactly.
different meanings.
Yeah, it depends on the type of goal or the nature of the goal or maybe some other factor or factors, let's say. Let's use plural. Yeah.
Yes, so the
Um,
person who would kind of describe success as a way to be very rich, maybe their goal is to be very rich.
okay. Yeah, possible. Possible. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what about the happiness? What is happiness? And how can people be cheerful?
Well, about happiness, I would say, um, for me, again, happiness is when you are able to make or you're able to build a very good and friendly relationship with the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
For me, as long as I have been able to, like the times that I was able to build this friendly relationship with the people around me, I always felt the happiness from inside. That's one way for me to get. So happiness, like if I want to define that, is the feeling that you get when you are having a good relationship, when you are not making problems in this world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For me, how would you
Nice.
describe that happiness?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely correct. I cannot describe it. I am still looking for that. But
So
what you
still,
said is totally correct. What you said is totally correct. I mean, let's say we try to be happy, and I mean, of course, as I mentioned, we have different goals to achieve. We do our best, and we reach those goals. Okay, now
okay,
we become happy. Okay, but again, because of human nature, right? Uh, we want more. We want to be more successful. Am I correct?
yeah,
So the concept of happiness just, I don't know, expands maybe. I don't know, just I cannot explain it because there is no stop, there is no end for that. Unless you tell to yourself that, okay, that is enough for me. I got what I really wanted from life, so I am the happiest person in the world. But I think there isn't any stop, there isn't any end to such concepts. You know, the infinity, uh, like that.
yeah. If you define happiness, if you define happiness as the feeling that you get after you reach your goals, then
Mhm.
because your goals and your desires are replaced once they're satisfied, then probably you'll probably never get that, or we don't know yet. Yes,
Mhm.
it's not easy to talk about.
Mhm.
But if that's the definition, you either, as you said, have to stop and said, okay, that's enough, which is very rare, I think, for human to say that, or
Yeah.
you have to be in the process of finding it, running after it the whole time too.
Mhm. And all of a sudden they say that, okay, that is the end of the game, end of the show. You have to farewell. You have to say goodbye.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, every single day is a surprising day. It's a surprise, a journey to discover. And
yeah.
it is so mysterious and sometimes disturbingly mysterious, but sometimes positively mysterious, to be honest.
Because you have a
But
reason to live and
yeah,
find out about it.
exactly, exactly. Uh, yeah, I think people need to take risks. Are you a risk taker?
Well, um, I would I would try to. I would be happy to like challenge myself, but generally, no, I'm not that much into taking risks.
Hmm.
At least at this stage of my life, where it's not that stable. But yes, taking risks, I like to. I'm trying to like do it, but yet I'm not able to do it that much. Okay.
Nice. I like that. I like that. Hmm. But
What
do you
about
think
you?
that?
Yes, go ahead.
But do you think that people should take risks,
Uh,
or just remain the same or intact or whatever?
well, because it's a risk, I cannot make like do it and then something bad happens.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I think as far as they can, that would make life more meaningful if you take the risks.
Yeah.
It will get out of the boring stage.
Hmm. Very good. Yeah,
But I
yeah,
cannot make this generalization. Okay, go ahead and take the risk, and
yeah.
then
Hmm.
they get in trouble and they say, for example, oh, what
Hmm.
did you make that generalization?
Yes, Exactly. Totally correct. Totally correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Someone says that, what is the definition of hope? Something like
And
that.
also, somebody defined happiness. I think it was a little hard for me to understand what he or she said, if I can find it. So happiness is the ability to define happiness, something like that, I think. Yes, happiness is to know, define happiness. Like to know how to define. So if you know how to define happiness, then it's happiness. I don't know if I can get this. And the other one you said hope.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
Yes.
it's hard to define it.
Hard.
Hope.
Yeah. Hope. Think about it.
I have always thought that is hope like an illusion or is it real? Or is it something we say to ourselves?
Very nice point. It depends. It depends. I think sometimes it is a sort of excuse for us. It is a sort of excuse that can stop us from going forward.
Hope stops us?
I mean, hope without action. I was talking about this. A kind of hope without action. We are just hopeful. Okay, be hopeful, but if there's no action, so that is, as you said, a sort of illusion or the delusion, or I would call it as excuse. We're just hopeful, okay.
We hope that it'll be fine.
Yeah, but the reality is not like that. Yeah, but hope is a tool, let's say, that can help us to do our best, right? To achieve it. I don't know. It is so complicated. I mean, let's add the elements of, risk, or I mean taking risks. We are taking a risk and we are hopeful. Maybe it can work. I mean, we have to do something. We have to take the action.
Yeah.
You understand what am I talking about?
I feel that you say it might help, but it might not be real, but it might help. Yeah, I get that.
We have to be real. We have to be real. We have to just face the problem. Face everything. Face the problem. Face the music. Face every consequences. But hope is a sort of relief, let's say. Yeah. I don't know. A sort of relief that maybe we need it. Otherwise, we are going to be alone. Otherwise, we are going to be, how can I say? I cannot find a sort of nice word for this. Our whole life might shatter, right? I don't know. I don't know. It's so deep.
Yeah, that's without hope. What would happen? What would happen without hope then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think hope it helps you. It helps you, but it might not be real. But if you keep telling yourself that, okay, maybe something good is going to happen, maybe it happens. But if on the other hand you keep being like pessimistic, then that's definitely, I think that's definitely gonna influence your actions negatively.
Okay, let me ask another challenging question. Do you think that being a pessimist has a relationship with being a realist?
You mean
are they related or not? Let me rephrase the question. Do you think that a realist person is pessimist, or can a pessimist be realist, or vice versa?
Oh, that's a challenging one.
Of course.
Pessimist can be a realist. Oh, I think that no, they're different. Like there are three. Of course, a person who Because I think reality is not that nice as we hope. Okay,
Okay.
so a person who is realist, chances are that later maybe he will be pessimist. But
Okay.
I still think that there's difference because the people who are pessimistic might really think negatively, which is not even true. And then if they think negatively, they're gonna, like they cannot reach their full potential, I would say,
Okay.
which is not gonna happen to a realistic person, I would say.
Yeah, possible. Yeah, of course. Of course, I am asking question. It doesn't mean that I have the answer.
Yeah,
We are discussing.
I don't have the answer. I'm just making my own I statement.
Of course, yeah, exactly. We are giving our own, views about these nice topics.
So my question
Okay,
is like, is there an answer? The one
maybe.
that is correct?
I mean, we have to ask.
Maybe.
Ask from a philosopher, or maybe this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Maybe we can have a vivid or clear, answer for this. Maybe. I hope. Again, I hope.
I
But
hope.
yeah. Let's say, for example, um, a realist person. Okay, a realist person tries to criticize everything. Tries to, talk about both of the sides, right? Like the negative side and also the positive side of any kind of issue.
Yeah.
I think people have no problem with the positive side. Okay. But when it comes to the negative side of the issue, uh, most probably people would call you as a pessimist. That was my question, actually. I mean, that was the relationship, maybe, that I wanted to ask whether there is a relationship, between these two stuff or not. I mean, if you are a realistic person, a realist,
Okay.
and at the same time you are criticizing some issues, when you are criticizing some issues, most probably you are going to talk about the negative elements, negative sides, right?
Yes.
So do you think that people would call you as pessimist in that case?
People might call me.
Yeah.
Yes, they might, because especially the people who are optimists, they will probably call a realistic, a realist. They will probably call a realist a pessimist when the realist is talking about the negative aspects. Hi, Mohan. Talking about the negative aspects. So, because as I first mentioned, you asked the definition of success, and I said that there's both of them. It's not just success or it's not just failure, then there's both. So when I'm talking about the success, the pessimists, the people who are optimistics, they're fine with that. But the part that I go to, that success comes with failure, there's hardship. Not all of that is easy. Maybe they might think that I am being a little bit pessimistic.
Okay, forget about people. What about yourself? Would you call yourself as a pessimist too?
No, I wouldn't call myself as a pessimist.
No. When you are criticizing something, that you are sure that the people who are seeing your action, who are seeing your criticism, you are sure about that, about the fact that people think 100% will think that you are going to be a pessimist. You're sure about it. So what about your own feelings? Would you call yourself as a pessimist too in that case?
For me, when I think that I'm a realist and then I'm discussing the positive and negatives, even when it comes to the negative sides, I still keep in mind that I'm being realistic. I wouldn't call myself a pessimist, but maybe I do. But up to now, I have never called myself a pessimist when I was looking at something with like considering both sides.
Okay, great. I like that.
But that's a good question. Maybe it happens. You might think for a second that you're being a pessimist. You're being a pessimist.
Yeah, maybe it can happen. Of course,
Yeah, it might happen.
it might happen. Yeah. I really like these kind of stuff, these kind of topics to talk about. I am fed up with cliche stuff that everybody actually is talking about. I
Hmm.
mean, let's just challenge ourselves by, how can I say, thinking again, or let's say by just considering different elements, different concepts in our life. Yeah, that is why I
So,
ask. Yeah,
what about you? How do you call? Are you an optimist, a pessimist, a realist?
I am an idealist,
Okay.
to be honest. But I think it is between realist and uh, mostly pessimist. It is
Okay.
between. I think it can cover both of the sides. Realism and pessimism.
So definitely not optimist.
Of course, when I criticize something, it doesn't mean that I am a pessimist. But
Mhm.
when I criticize something, I focus on, I highlight the negative sides. That is why most probably people would call me as pessimist, but I don't care.
Yeah, like who cares what people call you? But as long as you know that you're just looking at the possible negative
Hmm.
aspects that
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
possible to happen, then
Hmm. Criticism should be productive and constructive, rather than being destructive. You
yes,
mean? I
we
mean
have
that.
that.
Mm,
Constructive criticism helps. Why should you
yeah,
always look at the positive sides and do not improve because you don't have any constructive criticism?
definitely, definitely, man. Yeah. That is why, when I criticize, I try to help. I criticize myself, for example. I am not just criticizing others. I
Yeah.
criticize myself too. I mean, some people say, how do you feel? Blah, blah, blah. I would say, or some people would would ask me, how do you compare, or do you compare yourself to others? I say no. I compare
Mm-hmm.
myself to myself. I don't, care for others. I compare myself to, let's say, younger version of myself again, like 10 years ago. What I
Yeah.
have done so far, what sort of, you know, uh, mistakes I have overcome, or what sort of improvements I have achieved. That is it. Why should I compare myself to someone else in a case that none of us are actually at the same level, with the same background? That with the same level of life or life standards or whatever. So it is absurd to actually compare oneself to others. Why should we do that? I would call it as absurd,
Yeah,
as an absurd
that would be absurd. Like,
concept. Hmm.
and then it helps when you're comparing yourself with you.
Hmm.
Then you are a little bit, I don't want to call it pessimist, but if you have those constructive criticism, then it helps. It
Yeah,
teaches
yeah.
you the way how to go further.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, definitely, definitely. And yeah, of course, these are really cool things to think about. Mm.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. Like when I first joined the live, I didn't expect these conversations to be going on because usually what goes on is like, how do
Yeah,
I
yeah.
improve my speaking? How do I improve my
Yes, yes. I
vocabulary?
am fed up with that. Why I am fed up with that? Because I don't want to, generalize it, but mostly when students, let's say, asking for tips, okay, we give our tips, we give our, I mean, we share our experiences, right? But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, no one applies.
Yeah,
That is
I would
absurd
say.
too. Understand? So that is why I decided to go deeper. At least I can learn something new. At least I can, I can hear something that maybe pokes my mind so that I can, I don't know, see the other side, or let's say see the other form of contemplation.
Yeah, so you finally said, let's do something that I can get out of it, get something out of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's logical.
Hmm. I hope. I hope.
Okay. So it was a really good chat. I hope to join you again maybe later.
Of
And
course.
I really enjoyed it. So I'm
Me
gonna
too, man.
I'm
Me too.
gonna
My
go.
pleasure. Nice to
Let's
meet you
give
again.
time to other
Pleasure.
people. It was nice to meet you. I didn't expect this. This was new.
Of
Okay,
course.
cool.
Full of surprises.
Love it.
Of course.
Yeah, I love it.
Think
That's
about
cool.
this stuff, please. Think
Yeah, I'm
about
gonna
this stuff.
think about that
Yeah,
because it's
yeah. And
very
bring some
important.
questions. Bring some questions. I'm going to bring some questions too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do something
Okay.
new, right? You know, everybody, forget it. I don't want to just talk about it anyway.
Okay, cool. It
Anyway,
was nice talking to you. Take care, everybody. Bye.
my pleasure. Bye bye. Have a good time. Have a good time.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.